Some of the greatest teaching I ever had started very early with Mama saying, when you get, give, and when you learn, teach. That will take you all over the world. I used to think I was a writer who could teach. Now I know I'm a teacher who can write. And when I get a class together, I look at them and think, you poor dears, you poor little darlings. You think that you've come to be taught by a celebrity. I promise you, you'll never work as hard in your life as you'll work in my class. But you'll never be the same either. The theme in my class, all the classes, no matter what I'm teaching, is I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. That statement, if you look under Terence with one R in the encyclopedia, you will see beside his name in Latin, Homo sum humani nihil me alienum puto. This was stated by an African, Terentius Afer. He was a slave. He was sold to a Roman senator. He was freed by that senator. He wrote the most popular plays in Rome. 5 of those plays in that one statement have come down to us from 154 BC. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. I tell my students, when you can internalize that, you can never again say when a person commits the most horrific crime, you can never say, oh, I could never do that. You can say, I intend never to do that. You have the same components in you. But if you can do that with the negative, just think of what you can do with the positive. If a human being dreams a great dream, dares to love somebody, writes a stunning book, does an important movie, you can learn from it.
Greetings, greetings.
Greetings, greetings.
How you does do?
I am fantastic today.
You definitely look fantabulous.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr.
Excellent.
Duncan. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
To Here to Help You on MyTCNTV Network. So, it's a beautiful day. And you know what? Things are winding down. It's winding down. 3 more weeks until school. Saying that, I'm sure there are parents who are rejoicing as I say that. And there are children who are crying in their sleep.
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, some are.
I think the tears come as like the long weekend approaches.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the last long weekend of the summer.
Honestly, you know what? it's the same for me because summertime is the only time I have weekends off. Yeah, in our career path, we don't have summers off. Summers are like for like
Learning.
It's for those students who didn't do too well in the last year and want to catch up, or the ones who
want to improve.
Right? So I just want to talk really quickly about that Maya Angelou video that we played in.
Go on with it.
She said a couple things in there, and she said, "Nothing human is alien to me." And when she said that, what she meant was, when we hear about someone doing something heinous, we will say things like, "I would never do that." But she said that is incorrect because we all have the capacity for darkness as we do for light. So she said, just think about what you can do with that type of knowledge. And I completely agree. Just the idea that you are human, and just as, like, we think about sometimes, like, some of these people we hear about, whether it's like a serial killer or a mass murderer, we're like, how did they get away with this? Well, they put time, practice, and effort. No, it's a serious thing. A lot of these things are planned out.
Right.
You know, they educate themselves on it, and they put all that effort to do something heinous.
You know, it's like that seed which has been planted, right? And of course, they want to go ahead and foster that, right? And so, of course, the planning, you know, as a stage, you know, the execution.
The execution, which is usually the drastic part about it.
And more importantly, sometimes they go back over it now, of course, right?
Because they get away with it the first time because it's so well put together. Just imagine if you did that for good.
You know, and let's apply to, of course, education-wise as well, right? I mean, our learned style, right? Or the lack of a learned style.
Yeah,
right?
lack of.
Right? I don't want to do it. So, of course, they continue not to do it, continue not to do it. And then, of course, that other side of them comes out when you ask them that question, and automatically, right? The defensive side kicks in.
And you know what? Because we're going to talk about today, like I was saying, actually, we have a very special guest. I'm going to do a quick run through. What I like about our show is the fact that when we bring people in, sometimes people ask for a script. I'm thanking God that I guess today did not. Because I don't know, sometimes I don't know what to tell them. Sometimes, like, some people get really in their feelings. They need that structure, right? And I'm just like, this is not a structured interview. I don't know what to tell you. And some people don't know what to do with that type of information. They're just like, what do you mean it's not structured? So what are you going to ask me? What are you going to ask me? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to ask you. I go with the spirit. Like, I do. Yeah. Like, I'm very good at, I feel, judging people. When they're comfortable talking about something, they'll talk about it. I'll ask. If they don't give me it, then I'll leave it alone.
Right.
You know, like, but the purpose of this platform, the purpose of why we do what we do is to educate. And we bring people in here who either have a story.
Right.
Or have something that can help educate our community.
Exactly. Yes? Of course, you know, and it's been a wonderful ride this far.
Yeah.
Right.
We've
I mean,
had
mind
ups
you,
and downs.
you know, we're growing, and of course, I'm sure the audience is growing with us as well. And by means, continue to send in your
ideas, thoughts, comments, requests to be on the show. We have I don't want to talk about this. So I don't know if anyone's. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. So The Art of Winning. I'm going to leave it at that. There's a book called The Art of Winning.
Tune in.
The author reached out to me. I'm just so excited about that one. That was so cool. But it's just, that's a type of connection we get to have with the community, where we get to share things on different platforms and people can share and comment back. And we also have been here for the launch of, you know, some great things for people.
That's right.
Whether it's events or careers or, you know, just like getting their word out there, getting their story out there, getting their knowledge out there. So this is like, I don't know. I like this show, man. It's grown on me.
Grown
like
on you.
It has. Like, I remember when we first started doing it, guys. I just did it because, and like,
well,
you know,
I can understand.
Now I don't know if I could ever go. I don't know if my Tuesdays would be the same if I didn't have Here to Help You. And
I don't think anybody else out there Tuesdays would be the same if it wasn't here as
maybe.
well, right?
It may be the same for them, but it wouldn't be the same for me. I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else. I can only speak for me, right? Because I enjoy coming here. At the end of the day. I get to do what I love.
Right, and that's all that counts, really, when in the grand scheme of things. We get to do what it is that we love, right? And more importantly, you get to see us shine together.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we have a special guest in today. And I'm glad, you know what, I always say everything in its time. We met, I'm going to say a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, very briefly, at an event that one of our close friends who we have in common was putting on. And then we connected on social media. Telling you, social media is a place, boy. It can be like, if used correctly, it's a wonderful tool. If not used correctly, it can be deadly. It really, really can.
There you go, right? That the yin and the yang.
That yin and the yang
There you
again.
go.
But for me, it has been a wonderful tool. And for us here at TCN and here to help you, we've managed to meet some great people. So we have Miss Andree Vernon-Johnson. I like the fact that she hyphenated, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hyphenate. I'm going to be Simone, Jennifer, Smith, Rankin, Lindsay.
Hey, man, you know what? My name's in there somewhere.
I'm going to hyphenate everything. Just add things on. So we're going to play a brief video about, again, on education. I wanted to draw two strong women. Obviously, the first was Miss Maya Angelou.
Yes.
She's incredible. And another great of ours is the great Oprah Winfrey. Let's see what she has to say about education.
For me, education is about the most important thing, because that is what liberated me. Education is what liberated me. The ability to read saved my life. I would have been an entirely different person had I not been taught to read when I was at an early age.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCNTV Network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCNTV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Look, we're off balance. Hold on. Wait.
Oh,
Hold on.
shiny.
No, girl, okay, we good, okay. Look at us. We're just like, hold on. Gotta get this right.
Oh,
Girl, we're in the middle of, listen, we have greatness between us, Dave. This is Miss Trustee Word 22 in the middle of us, or, you know,
That's
depending on
right.
the word,
That's
you
right.
know.
Let's claim it.
I just have to make sure we good. Is everyone good now?
Yes,
See,
yes.
see how wonderful you look on camera,
gosh.
girl? Everybody, I would like...
Yes, we is.
Wonderful. Okay.
I would like to introduce to everybody the lovely Ms. Andree Vernon-Johnson,
Yes.
who she's shy right now, but it's like,
Far from.
listen, if
Ready.
anyone's seen
I'm ready.
her on Facebook and gone through her Facebook videos, this girl ain't nothing shy. She's fantastic. My dear, welcome to Here to
Thank you
Help
so
You.
much.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have some things to talk about today.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, and you know what, you've already kind of done a, I guess a formal, introduction of it on Facebook. You
Yes,
did do one.
I
So,
did.
how about now we do this live? Let's get this out there. I would like for you to introduce yourself, and we're gonna go into your history a little bit.
Okay.
But I want you to introduce yourself to the MyTCNTV Network viewers, who you are, what you do, and what great things you're about to do.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much,
Of course.
Simone and Dave, for having me here on your show. It is such a pleasure and such an honor. In terms of who I am, Andree means strength, Nicole, victory of the people. And so to learn a little bit of who I am, I would delve back into my childhood days. I always wanted to be a teacher. I would sit my brother down in the basement, and of course, I was the teacher, and he was the student.
Of course.
Gave him the work, prepared the work,
Oh,
and
boy.
all of those kind of things, and disciplined when needed be.
man.
What did you use as your pointer?
My pointer, I gave the nonverbal communication. It doesn't work for my son, but it always worked for the students, and
There
it
you
worked for
go.
my brother.
The stare?
Yes, the stare, the ones that I would get from my parents. In any event, and it still works to this day, right? In any event, what had happened is that I think the seed was planted from that moment in time. And just growing up in the elementary school, you know, my father and my mother had a hand in my education in the role of such. So whether that was studying the times table, my mom would revise and edit my written work
Love
in
it.
high school,
Love it.
university, and at first I didn't understand, and I would kind of be upset at the
course.
process. But when I actually looked back at things, it really made sense, and so I brought that into the classroom. So I wear many, many different hats. There's educator. I'm a transformational speaker. I'm an author of 4 books. One is titled My Eyes Can See, A Year of Reflection and Insight.
Okay.
The second one is 101 Inspirational Quotes for Us Rich Chicks. And when a lot of people hear the word rich, they think it's in terms of material acquisition or monetary acquisition of wealth.
not.
But it's not. It's in terms of mind, body, and spirit.
Love
There you
it.
go.
Love it.
The third one is Beyond the Tears, Healing After the Loss, and it speaks of grief and loss after the death of baby. And the fourth one is titled Victorious Secrets, a couple's passion to unveiling their passion and quest to love. And so normally when people hear secrets, they think it's something negative, but in this
Yeah.
manner, it's something positive that you're using it. So all of the books were actually started off with quotes and inspirational stories, and you actually have the opportunity to write in the book. And it's like a contract. I'm also a mentor for At Promised Youth, I like to say, instead of vulnerable youth. I'm a certified life coach as well, too. And have one business, it's Andree Nicole Inc., which focuses on empowerment. I always like to say educate, elevate, and empower. And so workshops are given, individual sessions, group sessions for couples, for youth, for women, because I am a woman. I have gone back into the shelters, have delivered or facilitated workshops at the high school level, and just within the community itself. Yeah, so all of those different things I am. And then going back to this whole journey of a teacher, you know, I was volunteering before I actually went into the program. And at this time, I would say, why do I have to volunteer? But I really do appreciate the fact that I was able to do that. And so volunteering in classrooms, was volunteering in terms of conferences at the board level, and graduated from West Hill Collegiate in Scarborough. Yes. And then went on to York University and got my BA, and was really more so focusing on race and ethnic relations, African studies, history, and all of those kind of things, and understanding policing, the dynamics of such, and women, race, and class. Those were some of the things that I took. Then after that, I applied for the social work program and got into it, but denounced that, and then went the teaching route in terms of the consecutive program. So that was a condensed year, 1 year, and got my job. So have teaching experiences within the Toronto District School Board and also with York Region District School Board. And it's been a journey. It's been a great journey. And during those times, I also had the opportunity of being a host teacher. So I would teach or educate, elevate, and empower these teachers to become, or the candidates to become teachers. So I had to evaluate and assess and observe and give feedback. And I also had the opportunity to be a principal designate. So a few of us were chosen when the principal was away to take care of matters.
Oh, nice.
And yes.
It's kind of cool.
It's kind of, yeah, it was. And, so given that opportunity and, facilitating, so some of the things that I am doing now, it's like it was being birthed back then.
Right.
Okay.
Right? And so the not-for-profit organization that I have, I titled it The Unspoken Dialogue, because when your dialogue is silenced, so to speak, it's a form of disempowerment. But once you've noticed that spoken dialogue, you have a form of empowerment. That is a media literacy program, and it focuses on youth, and focuses specifically on anti-cyberbullying, anti-violence, anti-racism, and anti-body shaming. And so I just basically put everything together that I would normally do for the youth at school, where I would have girls' discussion groups. The boys were kind of jealous, and we would discuss about, things that were important to them that they would encounter. I have this quote that I always say: a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
That's right.
And I still keep in contact with these students, a few of them that have graduated from college and from university. And that's when I become really emotional, when they send me back emails or messages and say, remember when you used to tell us a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step?
Right.
That wasn't just our classroom motto. That became my daily mantra, and I'm learning that also became their mantra as well too. And just last night, another student had sent something in terms of our, when you have the yearbook, and we would always do things creative.
Right.
And it said, I can't remember which student said that, but, I would either have my own talk show or be the executive director of a business. And so she reminded me that what I said to her, she would be the next Canadian Idol. And she says it was somewhat similar to that in the sense where she went the music route and graduated from York University. So it's just really nice to have, those types of relationships with them. I do a lot within the community. I'm very passionate about the youth. I do have a 17-year-old young king that is the world to me. He is such an amazing, phenomenal individual. And I always say to him, I don't know how the youth do it today, because there's so many things that they're faced against.
Yeah,
there's so many different things, but yet he still has his head physically and literally on his shoulders and knows what to do. And sometimes he doesn't like to hear these things, but we're just very proud parents. And because it's very difficult, because not every child has those kind of things, that guidance or that support. And when you hear it takes a village to raise a child, it is truly so.
Absolutely.
So I'm very grateful for my parents, in-laws, for uncles, for aunties, for friends that are all up in the mix.
Absolutely.
And when I was in the classroom, I would see every single student, I would see the face of my child, and I would treat them as such. So just really huge on that. Just being asked to come into the community and to share my expertise about who I am and to speak about self-confidence and self-esteem. That was at a disclosed area, the YWCA Women's Shelter.
That's right.
And these women fled the hand of violence from their loved ones and are there with their children. So at times, you know, speaking in terms of education, what does that mean for them? Because a lot of people don't know, or a lot of parents don't know, you know, there are expectations from the ministry that need to be followed, or things that are happening with their child. You know, they you know, they don't want to speak to the teachers or the principals. So just encouraging them to have that kind of dialogue, because it's definitely a partnership.
Okay, wait, before you go any further, because I know you have a lot.
Yes.
But we have 2 more segments, girl.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go on a very quick break. As you already see, we have a woman who definitely deserves the role that she's about to get. We'll talk some more with Andrea, Nicole, listen to me. I'm tired.
That's okay.
Thank you, guys. I'm here to help you. See you guys soon.
Bonjour, salut. How is everyone doing this amazing afternoon? In any event, I just wanted to check in with you and to share some amazing news. I've been chosen as a guest speaker for this most needed and appreciated event. It's called Winners Don't Quit and is spearheaded by Janelle Campbell. This is all taking place this Saturday at Military Trail Public School between the hours of 2 and 6 p.m. That's 701 Military Trail, located in Scarborough. The students within the community are going to be awarded not only for their academic talents, but also for community-based things that they're doing. If you're around and if you would like to basically support the youth of tomorrow, come by. It'll be great. Until such time, remember that you are premised on excellence, built to empower, created to inspire.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCNTV Network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCNTV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
How different would our education be if we went to school to learn to create jobs for ourselves? How different would our curriculum be if the purpose for our going to school was not to work for white folk, but to work for ourselves and to create jobs for ourselves and to create wealth for ourselves? How different the content of courses would be that we take and so forth. You say, it's not about lowering standards. It's not about changing standards and the way these people talk about it. You say, it's about building up the appropriate standard. It's not about unequal education. It's about what? Appropriate education. It's about looking at the goals of your nation and looking at the goals of your community and deciding what kind of education you need in order to achieve those goals.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So I picked that video because something that I really enjoy about the fact that you are in the community. I'm very big on less talk, more action. It's why Dave and I do what we do. We've decided to take action. We saw that there was definitely some issues in the educational system, unfortunately. In the video, Amos Wilson speaks about having an educational system that helps our children create jobs instead of train them just to work for others. Also, he speaks about goals for the community. And what are some really good goals that you have for, so you do so much, and I think in the last you kind of hinted on some of them, but what are some of the goals you have for the community, and what's some of the opposition that you've had to face? Because this is, I think, an important part of everyone's story is that conflict part. It's very important to understand, because that's where character comes in. Because everyone's story is wonderful when things are going well. Everything sounds great, you know, bells and unicorns and rainbows. What about when there's storms, right? And you have those goals still. How do you get to those? How's this been for you?
Right. So in terms of addressing your first question, what can we do for the youth to prepare them?
Yes.
Or even when they're in the classroom, I think what's very important is that we realize, and I think you and Dave were speaking about it in the first segment, that every child is unique.
Yes.
Every child is unique. And I remember being trained and having to teach to multiple intelligence. So everybody learns differently. So whether that's visual, bodily kinesthetic, auditory, logical, there are different ways that individuals learn.
That's right.
And if I may use this as an example itself, because I have been tutoring as well too, and prior to coming here, you know, tutoring these young individuals, and honestly, it's a pleasure to do so. It's very gratifying. It's very rewarding to see the end results and to see these individuals, no matter what level that they are at, that they want to learn.
Yes.
However, sometimes there's frustration.
Yes.
And the frustrations with these, the students themselves are frustrated with themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's looked differently as them having behavioral problems.
Yes.
But the reasons as to why these behavioral problems come up, and I'm not saying that sometimes it's not an issue of having a behavioral problem, but they're frustrated within themselves and trying to achieve a particular grade, a letter grade, or an understanding of what they need to do. And I saw that firsthand today. And it was very hurtful. And I had questions. And so this parent approached me to tutor their child in math and language, and I was doing so. And these individuals are transferring into grade 6. And they were on an IEP, an individual educational plan, and that's okay, because sometimes, you know, I think society stigmatizes that as being something negative, but sometimes it can work. It works in a positive manner in terms of helping that individual. So let's say, for example, if they needed more time on a test, well, if that's stipulated in their IEP,
their program,
then when it comes time for taking tests or exams, then that's benefiting them.
Absolutely, that is
right. But my heart was literally shattered into pieces because, as I mentioned before, they're going into grade 6, but operating grade 3 and 2. And even at grade 3 and 2, me having to, it wasn't an issue in terms of me having to come up with a different kind of format or piece of curriculum subject-wise. It's because even at that point, they weren't able to do that. And seeing the frustration, so we've developed that kind of trust, which I think is very, very important, because, you know, once that environment is conducive to learning, they will thrive.
Absolutely.
They will soar higher than any eagle.
Absolutely.
And once you instill all of that within them and they see that and they see this manifesting, then all they want to do is learn. But with these students, you know, they're frustrated because they want to learn. You know, I guess part of the class, they're in their main class and then they're pulled out. But I mean, it was something simple as using a dictionary that they didn't know, or basic, like, you know, at the beginning of the school year where you are searching for where that particular student is in a particular subject area, or basic math and multiplication and fractions. You know, and so the mother and I had a very serious conversation. And sometimes it's like the parent wants the best for their child, or not sometimes, the majority of the times the parent wants the best for their child, but sometimes they're not even fully equipped with the tools and the techniques to get their child from point A to point B. So I think it's very important to keep all of those different things in mind and implement it. It's not to say that you're going to have a bag and you're going to be pulling out tricks left, right, and center, but it is a duty of a teacher as an educator, because they are doing amazing things and are with these other people's children for the majority of the day, to know what their learning style is and to teach to that, and to also bring our society inside of the classroom. So if I may speak to myself, it's like I was part of this technology program where I had to implement, technology into the classroom, and I chose math and language. But for me, I think even going back a little bit further in terms of why I am, or the teacher that I was, is because of the fact the teachers that I had, the teachers that were both showed positivity and quote unquote negativity. And so I used both of those formats to bring into the classroom. Right. Like I will forever remember my nursery school teacher who, sipped her tea, played the piano, I wanted her to marry my uncle. Wow. And they dated at one point.
Plans.
No, but they dated. And she used to buy me crullers every week.
Oh, wow.
So I remember things like that.
You were a teacher's pet by default?
I'm not sure. But I also remember the other teachers that allowed me in high school to really work hard. Right. And I would complain at that point and say, well, none of my other friends have to do this and to do that. Yeah. But I appreciated it first year of university. Absolutely. Because note taking and study taking and test taking and doing all these different things was much easier for me. Yeah. So at the present time, it wasn't so good, but then towards the end it was. Yes. And one math teacher that I will never forget, in grade 5, I remember literally being in the classroom like this and knowing the answer and not wanting to
say the answer.
And the environment was scary. And so I never wanted that for my students. So at the beginning of the school year, I would allow them to sit wherever, but they didn't realize that there was always purpose behind what I was doing. So I'm seeing who interacts with other individuals, and the administrators that I was under, or that we worked with, let's use it that way because it is a partnership, is that, it was a no-nonsense type of thing. They weren't just in their office, they were out and about, and they knew every single one of those students. And so bullying and all of these different things, it's not to say that we were living in a utopia type of world, but we didn't see those kind of things in terms of how it is now. And of course things have changed, but it starts in the classroom in terms of, those rules or those consequences, or respect is a huge umbrella, not only for you, but for myself, or the properties, your utensils, all of those kind of things that were reiterated on a daily basis. Yeah. And so just watching the students to see, okay, well, who's by themselves? Who is like in a clique? And changing those groups. And so that trickled down into the different subject areas. So math, I had a bit of a math phobia, and my father was the one that taught me certain ways, because back then it was more so rote. But now you really have to think about your thinking. Yeah. As I had this professor, Alice Pitt, think about your thinking, right? You really have to think about it, right? And so I know that there was some math phobias for certain individuals. They would have to think of a game show in terms of which best described their math journey and be able to present it. So it's integrating, the language component, the math component, but also having math groups and bringing that technology as well too into the classroom. So it wasn't just papers and books and that kind of stuff. It was actually dialogues, the math groups, and constructing things and working things out. And I found that once they did that, even if they had started a particular math equation and didn't understand, towards the end or the week or the month or that time when it comes to a test, then they were able to fully understand.
I love it. So again, like there's a reason why you did this. Like I know maybe for some people they're like, when did she decide to do this trustee thing? This was long in the making.
It was long in the making.
This isn't new. This was just destiny unfulfilling. What is wrong with me today?
No, nothing's wrong with you. I totally get what you're saying.
Fulfilled.
Yes. Yes.
I did it. I got it out. Yes. Thing is, I haven't even talked much this whole episode, and I can't get two sentences.
See, I'm going to leave that alone. See, I'm sure you'll go ahead and figure that out between segments.
I'm going to. Listen, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but definitely I hope you guys are getting a glimpse of what you guys have prepared for those in Scarborough and your trustee, Ms. Andree Vernon-Johnson. I know you said Nicole. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just come back, everybody. Just come back.
It's all of me.
She's talking. It ain't even me today. Just come back.
Bonjour, salut, how is everyone doing today? I just wanted to leave you with a purpose-driven, kind of powerful note, and that is to continue to write your visions plain down on tablets. Write your visions down. Get into the habit of writing things down. It will manifest. Just want to remind you how premised you are in excellence. You are built to empower, and you are created to inspire. I am here to continuously educate, elevate, and empower you. Have a wonderful day.
Welcome back. She's so good at this. Listen, you guys are missing out. Too bad. I guess you'd have to be in the MyTCN studio to see really behind the scenes. But it's okay. She's just giving us jokes. She's giving us like jokes behind the scenes. So I love the glasses in the video.
Thank you.
Those are hot. They're huge. I love them.
Simone has a pair and that cover the whole face. Trust
I
me.
do. They're so beautiful. I love big glasses. So there's a couple things. There were some questions we didn't get to, but we'll see if we can get to them all in this last segment. Right. So you talk about in this video, and I took a couple things, writing your vision down. Yeah, girl, I've been studying you.
I see.
And
I see.
Manifestation. Can you tell us how you manifest things into your life? And maybe give an example of that? And then we can hopefully get time to hit goals and maybe small challenges. But your manifestation, every single thing that's happened has been manifested by you. I know you're very much in control of that. Explain that journey.
Yes. Well, in terms of writing down your visions, I truly believe that words are very powerful.
Yes.
They can either bring life or death. They can be a tool of torment or a tool of inspiration. And so if you were to ask my father, he will say from the tender age of 5, I've always been writing. Every single night the bed has to be cleared off with things. So I write down things. I truly believe in writing things down, saying it, and allowing it to manifest. It's not to say that there's not work in between those process, but I truly believe that those things come into fruition. And even if you're to see just on social media or just within the news or whatever, you're seeing or hearing about vision parties, vision board parties, and things of that nature, you know. And it stems back into the Bible. There was like the real vision board in terms of writing these things down on tables, right, tablets, and, you know, running into them, so to speak, and knowing that although it may take a while, they will manifest. So I always like to write down things. I truly believe, even when I've been asked to come out and speak, I normally have, you know, the audience stand up and, you know, utter some words. And
you didn't make us utter any words today.
Don't worry, we'll do this.
Okay.
We will.
I just want to make sure it's part of the whole thing,
That's
you know?
right. Do you want to do it now or a little bit later? Okay.
I want some words.
Ever the student.
Okay.
I like words.
So she'll enjoy this.
Okay. So normally I would have them sometimes stand up.
We can't stand up, girl.
That's okay, and sit down. That's what my mom was saying. How about you're going to make them stand up? And you could say, I am premised on excellence.
I am premised. Div.
Well, you know.
Say it, please.
Okay.
I am premised on
excellence.
I am built to empower.
I'm built to empower.
I am created to inspire.
I'm created to inspire.
And that's just one example, but I find that normally other people can say things to you, but when you yourself hear your own voice,
it's different.
It's different, and it truly does. And so when our son was younger, I remember watching something on CNN, and they had like a little boy, and we used to place him in front of the mirror, and he would say, when I look in the mirror, who do I see? A great somebody smiling back at me.
Right.
And then we would change it up, an intelligent person smiling back at me. You know, so those are just some examples in terms of manifestations.
Great things to do with your children.
Yes.
Great things to do with your children. It's funny because you know what? Those are little techniques that I know for some people saying these things sometimes to themselves, it feels weird. Right? When you first start doing it, it's like, why am I talking to myself? Right. But the more you do it, it's like, it gets a lot easier. And the fact that you do it with your son, affirmations for children are so important. Because when they leave your arms and go into the world, parents, they hear everything negative about them.
Yes.
So they need to know that when they come home, that they are affirmed by their family, by their parents. You are great. You are wonderful. Not 98%. Where's the other two? Our parents, some parents love to do that. You know, they have to criticize first instead of giving credit for the work that's been done. A C, only a C, but they had a D before. You know?
That's true. I see from both sides. I'm not saying that in terms of what the parents are saying was correct, but I think sometimes they just want the better, a better life for them.
Of course.
But I truly believe in terms of what you're saying. And even when you were speaking, what came to mind is on my parents' fridge, they would have children learn what they live. That poem. And, you know, so if a child learns this, then this is what will happen. And it's so interesting, too. It's my mom had given me something too when my son was younger, and it's titled Children Are Amazing, and it's an alphabet, but it's geared towards children as well too. It would have been nice to have it on here. Maybe I can forward it to you and you can share it to parents if they're interested in doing so. But in terms of the affirmation for ourselves, for our children, do it with the students as well too. And I used to love the chicken soup for the kids' soul. And I remember getting a gift that was like my very first teacher gift, one of them, and it was that. And I found that when issues were happening to them, you know, because sometimes there were some students that their parent was diagnosed with cancer. Or something was happening in their family, or things were happening with themselves. And I found that language was is a beautiful thing, because you can introduce these things, and it's very general but very specific as well. And children, Chicken Soup for the Kids' Soul dealt with all of those different issues that children are dealing with now. And so, you know, it just depends on the teacher or the individual. And I just found that it was easier for us to speak about those kind of things. And, you know, we spoke about current events. So when it was like novel studies, I remember when I was teaching grade 6, it was the breadwinner. So at that particular time, you know, you're learning about all the different, you know, the Taliban and all these different things, or the curfews that were imposed. But then we had a student that came from that particular situation. So here we are reading about this, and he has lived this.
Perspective.
Yes.
Yes.
So bringing the outside world, not only your society, community, but the world at large into our classroom.
It makes for a better learning environment when they can see something like that.
That's right. More tangible. Yes.
So you know what? We will end, because we have to. Well, you know what? I'm going to, as your campaign continues.
Yes.
I think I will definitely want to check back in with you again. I was telling her we did this with Miss Sarah Singh. She was a guest on Real Talk a few times. That's now the MP of Brampton. We're so proud of her. And what's the great thing is the journey. I'm glad that I was able to get you now. At the very beginning of this. In the Amos Wilson clip that was a little bit earlier, he was a little bit more militant in his speech. But I know something for you is that you're very committed to children, all children in general, but something definitely about our little kings and our queens, because I think sometimes they do get the end of the stick sometimes, unfortunately, especially in our community. Sometimes they don't get everything they need. What would you say at this point you're going to be able to do, without going into too much, because you have to, you know, still be mindful. We're only at the beginning. I don't want you to give away too much. Only beginning, so we don't want to say too much. But what would you say would be the one thing that you do stand for when it comes to education for our community, children in our community?
Right. Well, I truly believe, and I always say these 3 words: educate, elevate, and empower.
That's right. Okay.
So to be able to receive and to give systemic instructions, right? I think it's a partnership. You can't have one without the other, right? So it's not only the students that have to work together. It has to be the teachers. It has to be the community. It has to be the different agencies, and different politicians at large as well too. It's a partnership, and you know, I'm truly grateful to be under the wing of the administrators that I worked for, because they demonstrated that. And so that's why I modeled, you know, the way that I did in the classroom, even for my host teacher. So normally you wouldn't have a split grade when you're doing your consecutive program, but she taught grade 6, 7, 8. And so she just allowed me to go in there.
Right.
And so I took all the notes. And so the very first day of school, it was all attributed to Kathy Edwards. I've lost contact with her, but she just allowed me to just do anything, and she taught me. And as I'm saying that, there's this quote that I always use. It's teaching is learning twice, because I heard you, Dave, saying that Simone likes to be the student or to learn. And I feel that we all do.
Absolutely.
But teaching is learning twice.
Yes.
First, as we prepare for the students,
That's right.
and then as we work with them.
Absolutely.
right.
And so that's what I want to continuously do. I want to be that voice, you know, that advocate for that child or for that parent. You know, I was in the bank the other day, and you know, I guess they overheard something. I was there to set up the donations account, and she heard, you know, trustee. And so she's like, can I just ask you one question? And she had a question about the IEP and, you know, her daughter. And sometimes, as we discussed before earlier on in the segment, is that people, parents don't have all the information, and sometimes they're new to the country. And so it's, you know, it's one thing after the next. So I think that it's very important that we have an open dialogue about the many different issues.
Yes.
In terms of, you know, student achievement. They have to believe to achieve to succeed, and not only believing, achieving to succeed, but all of these other things that we spoke about in terms of, you know, the multiple intelligence and understanding that children learn differently, and making that environment very safe and conducive to learning, and researching and bringing other people from outside of the community inside, and allowing them to know more about financial literacy, you know, financial literacy, or the things that are happening in the world.
So this is only the start for her. Can you let people know where to find you if they have questions?
Yes. Well, for now, I will give the campaign.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Email, and
Go
so
ahead.
that's Andree.Vernon. So I'll say ANDREE.Vernon, VERNON, for trustee 22 at gmail.com.
All right. All right. So everybody, obviously we have to go. We can't. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank
you
you
for having me.
Thank you for
having
coming
me.
in.
Thank you very
Like,
It was a pleasure.
that was great. It was an easy interview because you just did all the talking. Yay!
Thank you.
It was great. You could get everything out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We're going to get this out. Share this as much as possible. Scarborough, be proud. You guys have a force coming in. We're so proud of you, girl.
Thank you so
We will
much.
be here at the end of this when you raise your hand in victory.
Wow, thank you so much.
Everybody have a wonderful afternoon, and stay tuned for What Matters with Erica. See you guys soon.